All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Ani, and it's a pleasure to have you all here today for our webinar looking at all the great releases that GEM has launched in the past year. We'll get started shortly. So before we dive in, I just wanted to do just a quick little bit of housekeeping. Today's webinar is going to be recorded, and it will also be available on demand after the live session. So if you registered today, you'll get an email on the recording later. If you have any questions during this session, please go ahead and submit them in the Q&A panel that you'll see on your right side. You can also upvote questions if you think that those are top of mind for you. And we'll leave some time at the end of today's conversation to answer some of those questions live. And then lastly, I see that a ton of us are tuning in live, so we're going to be covering a lot today. But feel free to use the attendee chat to introduce yourself and talk about anything that comes to mind, especially if you have any feedback on the session today. Cool. So with that started, let's go ahead and do a quick round of introductions. My name is Ani, and I'm the head of product marketing here at GEM.
Hey everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm the head of product here at GEM.
Cool. Now it's everyone else's turn. So we'd love to hear from you. So if you're comfortable, please go ahead and share your name, where you're tuning from in the attendee chat. And also, as a fun little icebreaker, tell us what was the highlight on your Spotify Wrapped. In March, my Spotify vibe was bougie football rap. I don't really know what that means, but yeah, I'll take it. So yeah.
Give us an example, Ani.
I think it had a lot of Drake and Kendrick is what I would imagine.
Love it. Looking forward to seeing everyone's answers.
Cool. Well, yeah, if you're all attending, would love to hear from you. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, and yeah, what's your Spotify vibe today? In the meantime, I'll also just share our quick agenda. So at GEM, we've launched hundreds of new features, but we'll focus on some of the big products that we've launched today, including GEM Scheduling, our AI sourcing product, our AI-powered app review, GEM ATS, which is a huge one, career sites. And then we'll also talk about some of the upgrades we've made to our platform. And then Sarah's also going to share a little bit more about what to expect in 2025. Cool. So let's get started with GEM scheduling. So you may have heard this earlier in the year, but GEM recently launched our new scheduling automation product. This is going to allow teams to schedule interviews across multiple teams. So our intelligent automation includes the ability to juggle different time zones for different interviewers, create interview focus areas, allow for preferences. We also allow candidates to easily submit their availability and self-schedule, and also create an experience for hiring teams to input their availability so that all the matching is done at a time that works both for the candidate and the hiring team. And then we also have interview trainer programs if you're trying to bring on new people into the panel and get them up to speed. So a lot of great stuff here, essentially just making the scheduling process a lot easier for recruiters. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Sarah to show you a little bit more about the product.
Awesome. Thanks, Ani. I'm going to walk you through what GEM scheduling actually looks like. This is going to be a super, super detailed demo. So if you would like to see a deeper demo of GEM scheduling, of course, don't hesitate to ask afterwards. Follow up with any of us. But I did want to show you a couple key screens just to give you a taste of what scheduling looks like in GEM today. So the first screen I'm showing you is actually how you would collect a candidate's availability. Oftentimes, a lot of the energy and time is wasted just going back and forth over email to collect the candidate's availability, ask for the following week because this week doesn't work, maybe confirm a typo. Maybe they said, Friday, December 19th instead of Thursday, December 19th, and now you're not sure if it's Thursday or Friday. So collecting candidate availability through a portal like this makes it really, really easy to overlay the candidate's availability with all of your interviewers' availability, no matter how many interviews they're having going forward. So this candidate portal would be customized to your company. So you would see your logo up here instead of GEM's logo. You can customize the kind of instructions that you have to give the candidate about how many blocks of time to select, how many hours they should select. Don't only give us 1 or 2 hours of availability, but give us up to 10 or 20 hours so that we can make sure to find the best times that work for our teams, and so on and so forth. You can even optionally add a question at the bottom to collect the candidate's pronouns, which will then be reflected on the candidate's profile for the interviewers to see. Um, but the interactive portal allows candidates to drag and drop times here. So they can say, hey, these are the available times that I have on my calendar, and or delete any of these blocks as well. And then once they hit submit, that will go into the GEM scheduling solution for your coordinators or your recruiters to schedule times with the interviewers and the candidates themselves. What that looks like is something like this. There's many stages to kind of scheduling the candidate, especially for more of the complex multi-interview panels or on-site loops or whatever your company calls them. But the gist of it is once we have the candidate's availability from the portal you just saw, then we can overlay it with the interviewers' availability. And the interviewers are selected based off of who's qualified to interview, who's finished their training for specific interviews, who the interviewers are for this particular job, all of which are configured, upfront when you're setting up the different jobs in GEM scheduling. And so now that we have the candidate's availability and the interviewer's availability, we can look at one block options, which would be all the interviews for a particular on-site loop or panel in one day. And you can see all the different options you have. You have one block that starts at 8 and ends at 11. You've got another one that starts at 8:30, ends at 10:30 or 11:30. But if you wanted, you could actually switch to two block options. Maybe you're saying, you know what, this is a big day of interviews. I actually want to break it up into 2 different days. Maybe 2 interviews on one day, 2 interviews on the next day. So we'll look at the 2 block options instead. And then, and similarly, you've got 3 block options too. In this virtual first world, oftentimes the concept of on-site interviews or a super day are not really what they used to be. So you can actually separate or split up many of the interviews, and instead of making them back to back, you can fit them in wherever your interviewers' availability is, and also kind of make it a nicer experience for your candidates as well. So we kind of mine everyone's calendars. We've got a couple different options here. Maybe you actually want to separate these a little bit, give them a little bit of a break in between. You can just drag and drop those interviews to make them exactly what you want. This is a very quick whirlwind tour of what GEM scheduling is like, but the gist of it is that you can then send out the interview confirmation emails to both the candidate and all the interviewers. The interviewers will get nice calendar invites that include information about the candidate that they're going to be talking to, a link to their profile, link to the scorecard to fill out afterwards, and so on and so forth. And then rescheduling is also a breeze. And then one nice feature that I personally love, which we use all the time at GEM, is the automatic Slack channel that's created once you've scheduled an interview for a candidate, so that all of the folks who are going to be touching that candidate can, converse in that Slack channel. And also, more importantly, recruiters and coordinators can use that Slack channel to communicate logistical changes, for example, or anything else they need to know last minute with the interviewers in real time. So hope that's helpful, just to give you a taste of what GEM scheduling looks like. Again, please follow up with us if you're interested in learning more, but that was one major highlight of 2024 that was really exciting to introduce to the GEM portfolio. We also have this available for Lever Greenhouse and GEM ATS customers today. So you can use it as a standalone solution with Lever Greenhouse or fully integrated into GEM ATS. And we're also about to launch it for SuccessFactors as well as Workday in early 2025. So again, if you're interested, excited to chat with you more.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah, for walking us through that. So our next big product that we launched is GEM AI Sourcing. This one was particularly exciting for a lot of our customers because sourcing can be quite a manual process. You have to start your search on a LinkedIn or Indeed, put in all these Boolean filters, and then scroll endlessly until you find a great candidate. So GEM unrolled AI Sourcing, which can do all of that work for you. So as Sarah will show you in a few minutes, essentially the way it works is you tell GEM what kind of candidate you're looking for in sourcing passive talent. So you can put in the different criteria, the filters, what qualifications are really helpful to your hiring manager. And then Gem AI will actually scour our database of hundreds of millions of candidates and surface those top candidates for you. You can review their profile. You can see if you've ever communicated with them in the past. You can see if they've applied before, and basically gives you that complete picture on every candidate. And then you can go ahead and engage them right there from the Gem CRM. So really, really exciting stuff. And this works with any ATS, whether you use Gem ATS or use your own. It's available as a standalone or as part of our entire platform. Again, really exciting stuff, but you've heard enough from me. I'll go ahead and let Sarah show you more of the magic.
Awesome. Yeah, this was one of the most well-received products I've ever launched in my tenure here at Gem. So I'm really excited to share more about what AI sourcing looks like in Gem. As Ani mentioned, the whole premise of AI sourcing is to allow Gem users, recruiting teams, to find candidates, net new candidates in Gem, begin and end your search straight from within Gem without having to use a third-party database of candidates. Hundreds of millions of profiles in here, but more than that, instead of sifting through hundreds of millions of profiles, because who has time for that, we make it really easy for you to find the candidates you're looking for, the candidates who are best suited for this hard to find role, a hard to place role that you're looking for using AI. And so the first thing you would do in order to find the candidates you're looking for as you're trying to build pipeline of passive candidates is to configure your search. Now, at first glance, it looks like this is just a bunch of filters, right? You're going through job titles, you're going and filling out locations, metro areas, cities or states or countries. But when you get deeper into these, it actually turns out that there's a lot of AI embedded here to make it a lot easier to do. So one example that I'd love to show is how you can get more refined about the companies that you're targeting without having to arduously select every single company on your target list. Let's say you're a fintech company and you're looking to hire customer success managers with fintech experience. There's a lot of regulation around it. There's a lot of lingo. Maybe you want somebody who's a little bit more seasoned, who has all of that already under their belt, so they can ramp up really quickly. Well, I don't want to have to go into Crunchbase or LinkedIn and actually figure out every single fintech company. I probably don't even know all of them off the top of my head. So I can actually just ask AI and say, hey, find me all the fintech companies based in the US. And if I say fintech companies who are based pre-IPO based in the US, ask AI for that. It'll think for a second and then it'll actually populate a bunch of companies who fit that criteria for me. I'd never even heard of Root Insurance, but that's a great one to know, or Vise, for example. And so again, I didn't need to go out and do this research on my own or go ask ChatGPT for a list of those companies. I can just ask AI straight within this search. It'll also recommend other companies that are similar. SoFi is public, but maybe it's still interesting to add because they are a prominent fintech company in the space. Same with Square. So I can quickly just add those recommendations straight from here. We also have some presets here, which are actually really interesting. Sometimes a great place to start as well. Maybe I'm a B2C marketplace like DoorDash or Faire, and I just want to target other B2C startups. I can look at that set of preset filters and say, okay, actually, this looks really great, but maybe I'll exclude, the ride sharing companies. And I can apply that preset and I'll instantly add all of those companies to my filter as well. Another way I love to use AI actually is for education. Sometimes this is a really great way to target underrepresented talent. For example, I can say, again, instead of thinking of all the women's colleges in the United States, I can say, find me all the women's colleges in the US. And when I ask AI for that, it should populate a list of all the women's colleges. So again, I don't need to think of those on my own or do all of that research on my own. And similarly here too, we have a bunch of presets, default presets, or even team presets that your team can configure and save. If, for example, for campus recruiting purposes, there's a set of colleges that you're always going to and want to recruit out of. Once you've configured your search, then we will go, there's of course a bunch of other more of the typical filters that you might want to apply, like years of experience, spoken languages, and so on and so forth. And then there's also more free-form criteria. Maybe I want to know that they have significant external facing experience because they're going to be a customer success manager, a representative of my company, speaking with customers day to day. That's not something that a hard filter could apply. And then we also have ways of mitigating bias by flagging criteria that your recruiting teams might type, but which we want to be a little bit more cautious about. So, friendly personality is generally not one that I've seen pop up much in searches, but just in case somebody tries to add something like that, that is not really a hard skill that would be discernible from a resume that might also be prone to introducing bias into the search process, we'll flag that as something that you may want to take another look at before adding to your search. And then again, we've got a few other kind of nice filters that make it really easy to identify top tier talent, like candidates who've been promoted recently. We can tell that career progression from their resume, not a job hopper. Maybe we generally don't want people who've only spent 8 months at every company before moving on to the next one. And so there's just some other kind of quick filters that we can apply to your search. So then once you configure your search, we'll actually go out and look in our entire database of candidates, including ones that you don't actually have in your ATS or CRM already, for candidates who might be a good fit. So you don't need to, again, use our sourcing extension to go look on other third-party databases. You can start and end your sourcing search from within GEM. And, I'm looking at lots of really great talent here. These are people who with fintech experience, who are customer success managers in the regions I was looking for. I was looking in New York and the Bay Area. And then if I like these folks, I can just say yes to them and then bulk sequence them later after going into my yes tab up here, or I can just sequence them as I go. Should be a very familiar experience for those of you who are familiar with the sourcing Chrome extension that we have, and I can send them a multi-stage sequence right from here, and then click send to proceed. As you go to, of course, you can continue editing your criteria. If you say no to a candidate, maybe this is a candidate I'm saying no to, we can also get feedback from you on why you said no to the candidate to improve future candidates that we recommend. Maybe this is actually just the wrong title for some reason, or maybe this is actually not the right company I was looking for, and I actually didn't think to exclude certain types of companies, but I do want to give that feedback to the system here. So again, this is a quick overview of AI sourcing. Would love to share more about that one-on-one. So if you're interested, please do follow up with us afterwards.
Awesome. Cool. Well, that's super sweet. So our next one is actually kind of like a nice little segue to AI sourcing. So it's AI-powered app review. As the name suggests, it's very similar to our sourcing product where you're using AI to help you find great candidates, but here it works specifically within your inbound application. So the candidates that have applied into your ATS, again, this works with GEM ATS if you're using our entire platform, but it also works as a standalone solution with Workday, Greenhouse, SuccessFactors, and iCIMS. And again, really cool functionality here where you can, if you have hundreds or thousands of applicants and you know that a lot of them aren't even meeting the bare minimum criteria, it's going to be a lot easier for you to prioritize the top applicants based on those same skill sets that you're looking for, whether you're doing sourcing or inbound. And so, we'll share more again in a few minutes, but really a game changer in terms of just saving you time from like going through all the different applications and just making sure that you're prioritizing the ones that actually meet those criteria and the qualifications that you're looking for. Before I go into the demo, just also wanted to share a little bit more about some of the approaches we take to making sure that AI is being used responsibly, whether it's in sourcing or in application review. The first and foremost is just, the transparency and control that we want to give our actual recruiters and hiring teams. So we always let recruiters dictate what exactly is the criteria that should be used to evaluate candidates. And whenever a match score comes up, we make sure that GEM AI surfaces exactly why the candidate was scored the way they were with the specific criteria that they put in. The other element that we've added is just making sure that we have proactive guardrails to make sure that AI is being responsible. So this means, removing personal identifiable information from profile data before we send it into AI for scoring. And we also provide warnings for subjective inputs, like Sarah mentioned earlier, where if you use something that's a little bit vague or cannot be interpreted consistently, we flag that as a warning so that users know that this would be challenging for the AI to interpret in a consistent and fair manner. And then our platform as a whole, undergoes internal governance and third-party audits to always ensure proper security and procedures. And we also recently conducted a successful bias audit with our partner Babel and we'll make sure that this annual audit is always part of our process to again ensure that our AI capabilities are meeting the highest compliance standards. And then lastly, AI has been around for a long time, but there's old school machine learning models that have existed for 10 plus years. And then there's the new generative AI like ChatGPT or Claude that are delivering far better performance. So we are using that new age generative AI technology since we know that it's stronger, it's faster, and it requires less calibration. But anyway, that's just my quick spiel. I'll hand it off to Sarah to show you a little bit more about the product.
Awesome. So I'll show you a little bit about what this looks like, but the first thing you'll probably notice is that it actually looks quite similar to what you just saw in AI sourcing. And that's because the underlying technology to find the candidates who meet your criteria is really the same. The way you would apply your criteria is entirely the same as what you just saw in AI sourcing. You would calibrate your search. You tell the system what you're looking for, what companies to target, what qualifications they need, experiences, skill set, years of experience, geography even. And then we would go and apply those criteria to your inbound candidates instead of searching the World Wide Web for net new prospects to reach out to cold. So in this case, these are all applicants in your system for this customer success manager role. And you can see these percentages that have been applied, taking your AI criteria, your search criteria, and using AI to match it against the resumes that have come into your application queue. In this case, we also, again, want to give you ultimate transparency into why we've ranked this candidate the way we have. GEM affords that transparency because we ultimately want the control to live with you, to live with recruiters, and to be completely explainable. There shouldn't be any black box AI or second guessing what the system is doing. So you can see in this case, they have experience at a top tech company, which was one of the criteria that I had put in, but it doesn't seem like they have any experience in selling fintech. So those are just some things to note. Overall landed at a 45% match, but again, of course, you can see exactly what contributed to that score. In this case, right now I've got my applicant queue sorted from oldest to newest, but I can actually now apply the AI ranking so that I can review the best matches first. Right now, it only seems like the best matches in my queue are at 65%, but those are the best, so I'll take what I can get and I'll look at those candidates first. Again, this person has experience at a top tech company, Atlassian. It does seem like they have familiarity with renewals, expansions, customer life cycles. So that seems great. And if I want to advance them, I can do so here. We can also advance them with a message and say, hey, we want to schedule your phone screen. I actually want to send that tomorrow because let's say today's Sunday and I actually don't want to email them over the weekend. We've got a bunch of team templates, of course. You can even send a sequence as well to kind of, make sure that they're seeing your message or make sure that you're continuing to follow up with them until they schedule time for that first recruiter screen, for example, and then advance them to the next stage and schedule those messages to go out. Similarly, you can reject them with a message, same idea, or apply any of these other filters here just to see any referrals, for example, first before going into the rest of your candidates based off of the AI search criteria you input. So again, super quick whirlwind tour, but a lot of the same principles from our AI sourcing product apply here too. We're just applying those search criteria to a different pool of candidates so that you can focus on the highest quality matches first, move forward with them really quickly before they, go find another job elsewhere, before then getting to the rest of your applicant pool. Back to you, honey.
Awesome. Cool. So moving on to our next major product, probably the one that I'm most excited about, which is GEM ATS. It's something that a lot of our customers have asked us. They've always said, when are you going to release an ATS? We want an ATS from GEM. We can't wait to put all of it in GEM. So good news, GEM has an applicant tracking system. It works better together with all the other GEM products that you already know and love, like our sourcing, our CRM, our analytics, and scheduling. And yeah, this was one of the biggest highlights of the year. We already have hundreds of customers using the product and collaborating closely with us as we build out more advanced functionality. But you know, the major value here for a lot of our customers is that they're already using Gem for so much things outside of the ATS. And now that we have Gem ATS, we can just complete the circle and let our customers have one consistent user experience for everything that they do related to recruiting. There's a lot of great, exciting features here, of course, and then an ATS demo could take hours and if we wanted to show the whole thing. But I'll hand it off to Sarah to just share a few quick highlights from our product.
Awesome. I'm excited to share Gem ATS because I think a lot of you haven't actually seen it, or if you have, maybe not recently. Unfortunately, of course, as I've mentioned with all of the other demos, there's no way I can show you everything about Gem ATS today. There's just so much surface area and there's so many details, and I'm sure you'll all have many, many great questions. So I just wanted to show you some of the key kind of workflows just to give you a sense for the look and feel. Right? There's so many ATSs out there, and a lot of it comes down to the look and feel of it. Is it intuitive? Will my recruiters tear their hair out using this 8 hours a day, or are they actually going to enjoy it, or at least be able to get their work done without too many clicks and without too much confusion? So I'm going to show you a couple of the key screens, but a lot of what we've actually already showed you with Gem scheduling, with AI sourcing, with AI-powered application review, actually all are part and parcel of the ATS and this all-in-one bundle. In this screen, for example, this is the kind of core screen for all of Gem ATS. You can see every open job you have, along with how many candidates are in every stage of the pipeline. So at a glance, these are all the jobs that I'm working, or at least my team is working. I can filter to just show my jobs, of course. And then when I click Start Reviews, that's actually what takes you exactly to the AI-powered application review screen that I just showed you previously. That's how you would review those 35 candidates who are awaiting their applications to be reviewed and to hear back on whether you want to talk to them or whether they're being rejected. So I'm going to skip that part. I'm not going to review those applicants since we already just showed you that, but instead I'm going to click into this customer success manager role and show you what that looks like. To manage the candidates in that job. So I'm the recruiter for the CSM role, the customer success manager. Actually, I'm just going to go to the next tab because I already have it open. And this is what that screen looks like. You can see all of those candidates at every stage of the funnel. You'll remember I have 35 in the application review stage. Again, I can review those applicants from here. I have 6 candidates in the hiring manager screen stage. Actually, it looks like one of these is a referral to Stace, which is awesome because I may want to move forward with them first and just make sure that we're giving them really, really great white glove candidate treatment. But then you can see other things like scorecards here at a very quick glance. Cynthia is in the middle of interviewing with our company, and I want to look at the scorecards that have already been submitted. Looks like we've got some yeses, some strong yeses, some folks who are still awaiting submitting their scorecards. And at a glance, I can just, make a very quick call on just how things are going with Cynthia. Should I schedule that debrief? Maybe, hopefully, I've already scheduled that debrief while scheduling all those interviews anyway. In the offer stage, we've got a bunch of different things. When candidates are in the offer stage, all of the offer letters can be sent through Gem ATS through our native e-signature capabilities. That means you don't need to integrate with DocuSign if you don't want to. However, we do support integration with DocuSign if you already have that company-wide for other reasons. And what that means is the offer letter can be sent out with little placeholders for the signature, for the date, the signer's title, all of those, the usual things that you would expect to go in an e-signature. You can revise the offer letter if you want. And in this case, actually, it looks like we're waiting for offer approvals to come through first before actually sending that e-signature request to the candidate. So looks like Vince and Gabs actually need to request to approve this one more time since a couple things have been changed. And then we'll be able to send that offer letter out for e-signature. Some other things that are kind of interesting about the ATS itself is this view, this job board, this Kanban board view may look familiar because it's actually very similar to the talent pipeline product we have today for customers who are not using Gem ATS. So we have the same features like being able to drag and drop candidates from one stage to the next. We have the ability to, view and open up notes to add notes quickly onto the candidate profile, and the ability to message candidates straight from here as well, just to send a one-off message or a text message. You may want to just check in, send a no update update. We've got templates right here as well, to make that really easy to do, and generally just kind of stay on top of your candidate pipeline and make sure nobody's dropping through the cracks. So that's a little bit from the recruiter perspective for managing candidates. We've also got a couple other views which make it really easy to navigate and to just stay on top of your pipeline the way you want to. So some recruiters prefer the table view, which is a little bit more like a spreadsheet compared to the card view. And from the recruiting operations or sort of the administrative side of things, I'll show you a little bit about the job setup. So when you're first opening the job, there's probably a lot of details you need to create about the job, the rec ID, the open date, maybe some custom fields like the role type, the salary. And then aside from that, there are, aspects of the hiring team, of course, and then the offer approvals. We've got default approvals that you can set up per job, per department, per location, or override that for individual jobs, and just make sure that everything is, all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted before you hire candidates into the role. We've got all the aspects about the interview plan. You can add interviews to any given stage. You can group stages into different milestones so that you have standardized reporting. We take that milestone approach to make sure that you can compare jobs and pass through rates against each other, even if they have fundamentally different interview processes. And then we've, of course, got job postings to support different locations. For example, you can create job posts that get integrated with different job boards, whether that's posting to LinkedIn or sending it off to Indeed and so on and so forth. And just making sure you're opening up your top of funnel to collect as many applicants as possible. Lastly, the ATS settings. This is kind of where you would set up your offer approvals, for example. You would be able to, create offer tokens or manage your offer tokens, your offer templates. You've got all sorts of other setup requirements for interview plan milestones, as we just covered. How many milestones do you want? What stages do you want to roll up to each milestone? What the default job application should look like. Maybe there's one question you want to ask on every single job question on every single job application, no matter the job. You can set that up as your default application, in addition to allowing recruiters to configure job specific custom questions. And then integrations, lots of integrations, and many, many more growing, as well as your referrals process that you can ask custom questions of your employees as they submit referrals to different jobs. I know that was a lot, very information dense, but as I mentioned earlier, this all connects with GEM scheduling, which is native to GEM ATS and comes with it. AI-powered app review is also part and parcel of GEM ATS to help you get through those huge queues of applicants that you're undoubtedly getting in today's world. And then, of course, Talent Compass, which is our fully configurable dashboards product, is also part and parcel of GEM ATS and comes with it too. So that's, again, a whirlwind tour of GEM ATS, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a sense of kind of how far we've come over the last year and how well integrated it is with the rest of the GEM suite. Back to you, Ani.
Awesome. I just saw a comment about how Jen loves information dense. I think that's a great wording. And yeah, thank you for walking through us all that. Obviously, a lot more to share there. Just wanted to share again, we may have launched earlier this year, but we've already got a lot of great customers using GEM ATS and with a lot of positive things to say. So, some of the key things we're hearing, they love that it's easy to use, just like other parts of the product. At Linktree, the hiring managers really love using it, and hiring managers are a big part of the ATS, and so it's good that they can easily use the product as they need. And then of course, Vectorworks and other customers just being able to consolidate all those different tools, right? So there's just one place you can go. So yeah, if you're excited, would love to show you more. But with that said, our last big release that we wanted to highlight before we take you into a sneak peek into 2025 is GEM Career Sites. So earlier this year, we announced our partnership with Happy Dance. to integrate their world-class career site platform into the GEM platform itself. And so now our customers who are using GEM, whether it's the CRM or the ATS, can also build stunning career sites to attract the best talent. So if you've ever seen any major career sites that you love, chances are Happy Dance is the one that helped them build it, right? The whole experience here is to give them a personalized experience for any job seeker that comes to a career site, make sure that they see the right jobs for them, having that reliable integration with your CRM and your ATS so you can track all the candidates that come into your career site and see how they go through the funnel. And just again, also giving you the ability to create a talent community. Sometimes people come to your website, they're not ready to apply, but being able to embed a GEM form or landing page and then be able to capture their information, nurture them for future ongoing releases is also the key value props here. With that said, I'll just hand it off to Sarah to talk a little bit more about some of the key functionality we have before we wrap it up to 2025.
Awesome. Happy Dance is a really amazing career site company. I encourage you to look at some of the examples that Ani shared before. If you're interested in seeing more live examples out on the World Wide Web, we're happy to share, email you some of those examples too. When I've played around with Happy Dance myself, actually, as a career site management development tool, it truly is WYSIWYG. You know, what you see is what you get. It's the Squarespace of career sites. You can adjust the 2-column layout to be a 3-column layout. You can add hero images. You can create an image carousel to create really stunning, not only visuals, but animations. It really does look like a first-rate career site without looking too templatized, but without also being super, super manual to update. You don't need to go through Happy Dance to request that the copy be changed on this or that one image be swapped out, because you can truly do it in the tool yourself. That said, they will also do the initial setup of your career site for you if you'd like. So you don't need to start from scratch. They can take what you already have on your career site and just put it into their tool and sort of rebuild it for you. And then that allows you to further make all of the edits that you'd like in the self-serve way after that. But that is one thing that I think truly stands out about this career site offering. I think also the fact that a lot of their content is really dynamic, that it changes based off of who's viewing the career site, and can also give more personalized experiences to the viewer the second or third or fourth time they come back to the career site, is a really, really compelling, makes for a really compelling candidate experience. One example of that is, if I've already clicked on the engineering department highlight page, then clearly I'm interested in engineering, probably not sales or go to market. And so the next time I come back to the career site, it will automatically kind of spotlight more engineering roles for me to click on, instead of just showing me the whole smattering of jobs across the entire company. There's a lot of really great ways to also highlight company culture and give a taste of what the Berlin office is like compared to the Atlanta office, for example, and do so in a templatized but scalable way, that's still very personal and engaging. So again, highly encourage you all to check out Happy Dance. They've been a really amazing partner to us, and we've seen a lot of mutual customers see a ton of success with standing up their career sites with them.
Yep. And just to double back, Happy Dance has partnered with us to build career sites for a number of our customers. But if you wanted to see examples of like what's possible with Happy Dance, these are just some of the really impressive logos and the career sites that they've built. As Sarah mentioned, a lot of these web pages, they're super dynamic, they're personalized, and they're just fun. And so we're really excited about this partnership and just adding career site capabilities to our product. So that kind of wraps up everything that's come out in not everything that's come out in 2024, but just some of the big highlights. With the time we have remaining, I'm just going to hand it off to Sarah to share a little bit more about what's coming up in 2025. Of course, this list is not fully comprehensive. We just wanted to give you a little bit of a teaser of some of the exciting things that we're working on, and we'll release more information coming soon.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm excited to wrap up with a look into what's ahead because I also imagine this will prompt a bunch of really great questions, which I'm happy to answer. So please keep them coming. Also happy to answer these offline. So feel free to ping me afterwards if you're interested in learning more about any of these things. Broadly, there's probably four different things that I wanted to highlight. The first and the last bookending these are somewhat related because they both relate to AI, of course. So maybe I'll just tackle those first. The first one, AI talent rediscovery, is a natural extension of all the work that we're doing to build AI sourcing and AI powered app review in GEM. If you think about where all the candidates come from, there's, of course, the net new passive candidates from the World Wide Web that you're trying to get into your company's orbit and convert into active candidates. And then you've got the applicants. And so far, we tackled both of those with AI to make it a lot easier to separate the signal from the noise and move forward quickly with the best candidates for that job. The third bucket of candidates that often kind of goes overlooked, though, is the rediscovered ones. These are the ones who already exist in your ATS because maybe they applied 3 years ago, or maybe they were referred last year. Maybe these are candidates who already exist in your GEM CRM, even candidates who you met at Grace Hopper last fall and who stopped by your booth, but never really went beyond that. You know that they have intent, they're interested, they already know who you are. You don't need to sell them on this brand name all over again because at least you're a known quantity to them at that point. Well, a lot of the heavy lifting has already been done for these candidates who either were so interested they applied, or who even just have seen your name brand here and there passively. So you should definitely try again to nurture those candidates into turning them into active ones. And that's where AI talent rediscovery comes into play. That's kind of the third pillar of our overall AI talent pipeline building products to complement AI sourcing and AI powered app review. And that'll look, again, very similar or be baked into the same experiences that you've seen before. So you're only setting up your search criteria once and you have it apply kind of magically to all of these channels of candidates, whether they're rediscovered candidates, net new passive prospects, or active applicants. That's really the power of having everything be baked into the same system all together. So you don't have to duplicate your work or worry about inconsistencies in your search criteria from your applicant queue to your sourced candidates. So that's actually coming very, very soon. You'll probably hear a lot more about that if you're subscribed to our mailing lists or tune into future webinars. The last pillar here, the embedded platform AI, is just taking all of the AI that we've invested in so much and applying it to all aspects of the GEM platform. There's use cases we've heard from you all that we're really excited to prioritize and work on in the near future, like using AI to help write job descriptions. Whenever you open a job, that's usually one of the things that kind of takes a little bit of research, takes some time, no matter how many times you've done it. Oftentimes I'm Googling to see what other job descriptions out there look like for the roles I'm hiring for, and then just kind of borrowing inspiration from here and there, or even copy pasting in certain cases. And so you can do a lot of that much, much faster with AI. That's one use case I'm excited about, but there's so many more. For example, using AI to surface which candidates might need attention. Maybe this candidate is dropping through the cracks, haven't set an update or not even a no update in many, many days, or using AI to nudge the candidate if they've, suddenly gone dark after your multiple requests to submit their availability to schedule time for that next step. There's a lot of ways you can also use AI to make things a lot more efficient throughout the platform. One use case we were actually just playing around with, which worked really, really well, was for bulk changes. I can say, hey, find me all of the jobs in the engineering department, and then apply this header, this intro into the JD, or edit this one part of the JD that I want to across all of our engineering roles. Maybe we're changing something about the engineering departments, or we just wanted to add one more quippy line about our engineering culture into all of the JDs. Those kinds of actions become a lot more powerful with AI. So again, just kind of excited to really weave AI throughout the rest of the platform, in addition to targeting these really, really critical workflows that we've already prioritized in 2024, like sourcing and application review. I will continue my trend going backwards and actually go with the better together aspect. Better together is really just how we're talking about the entire GEM suite of products, and why and how they work better together when you use all of the solutions in the product together. So again, one example I shared earlier was how when you're using both GEM AI sourcing and GEM's AI powered app review, you'll need to configure and calibrate your search once in order for the search to apply to both pools of candidates. That's just one example, but another example um, is how our AI products like AI sourcing have the context of your past relationships with the candidates who exist in your CRM or your ATS, so we can make better recommendations. We can make sure that we're not recommending that you reach out net new to a candidate who was just rejected from a job last week, right? That would be a pretty terrible candidate experience. That might make your talent brand look bad too. We can also make sure to bump up in priority candidates who you did meet at a campus recruiting event last year. Again, they know who you are. They're probably going to be more likely to respond, more likely to be interested. And so that's a smarter recommendation that we can make by virtue of you using GEM's CRM in addition to GEM's AI sourcing products. There's also all sorts of ways that the ATS works better together by virtue of having all of these products integrated and part of the full bundle. One of those ways is kind of tying the CRM activities, all of the work that you're doing at the top of the funnel, into the ATS view. So you can see how many candidates were actually sourced for this job that I'm now looking at in my ATS, how much work is being done at the top of the funnel that I can show to the hiring manager, in addition to all of these applicants um, who have thrown their hat in the ring for this job. So again, better together, and how all of these solutions in the GEM suite integrate really, really deeply to provide a 10x better experience instead of just something that's the sum of their parts is a huge priority for us throughout 2025. And I'm really excited to see those come to life and share more about those with you in a future session. And then the last one here is the second pillar is this on-demand data refresh. This is actually more of a feature that I'm just really excited about, but I want to share something more tactical that's coming down the pike very, very soon. I was recently part of a review, a demo for this feature, and I know this is something that many customers have asked for. What this feature is building off of the kind of best-in-class data refresh that we already have as part of the GEM CRM platform. We keep all of the profiles in your CRM up to date, refreshed at least once every 90 days or so. So that whenever you're reaching out to candidates, you have the freshest information available about them. It's not a stale profile that starts to become staler the moment it enters your system. So you're not reaching out with the context of where they worked 3 years ago or referencing a title that they had 5 years ago, but rather, using the context of who they are today to make sure that you're reaching out to them about the right job for the right skill set, and making sure that your outreach is as effective and personalized as possible. What on-demand data refresh does is takes that to the next level. Sometimes you have a CSV, for example, that you've just gotten from a campus recruiting event or from some event that you sponsored, and you want all of that data to be enriched immediately as soon as you add it to GEM, as soon as you upload it to GEM. Well, you'll soon be able to do that with our on-demand data refresh. Similarly, even just on the individual profile level, maybe this was refreshed 90 days ago or 60 days ago, but you're about to reach out to them and you just want to double check, triple check that you have the latest information about them before you send a sequence to them and reach out about a job. And so you'll be able to trigger that on-demand data refresh to refresh instantaneously with the latest information right before you send that message to them. So again, this will be coming very, very soon, but just wanted to call that out because I know many customers have asked for this actively. So excited to put this in your hands very soon. That's just a very short preview of some of the high-level things coming in 2025. But, of course, we're still going to be working on all of the core ATS functionality. We're going to be continuing to take that up market and investing in just generally the entire GEM bundle that covers the entire recruiting tech stack from top to bottom. So if you're interested in learning more, please do reach out. I'd be excited to share more details on any of this with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah, so much for that. And yeah, thank you all for attending. I hope you all found this presentation really helpful. It sounds like you all had a few questions that we were able to answer live. So yeah, thanks for spending 45 minutes with us and hope to see you all in the new year. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great new year.